Who is Vladimir Putin? A question that many have asked, yet few can truly answer. Our journey begins in the year 1952 in a place once known as Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, in the heart of the Soviet Union. It was here that Vladimir Putin, a man who would become a formidable figure on the global stage, was born. His parents, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin and Maria Ivanovna Putina, were ordinary people. His father was a conscript in the Soviet Navy and his mother a factory worker. The environment he grew up in was far from easy. Post-war Soviet Union was a place of hardship and resilience, providing a backdrop that would shape the young Putin's outlook on life. As a child, Putin showed an early inclination towards law and economics. He was a keen student, always eager to learn. His interest in these subjects was evident even in his school years, hinting at a mind that was analytical and strategic. But it wasn't just academics that caught young Putin's attention. He was also a judo enthusiast, a sport that requires both physical strength and mental agility. This balance of brain and brawn would later be reflected in his leadership style. So, here we have a young man born into a world of struggle, showing an early aptitude for strategic thinking with a penchant for physical challenges. These formative years were merely the prelude to a life that would be anything but ordinary. As we delve deeper into the life of Vladimir Putin, we'll discover how this boy from Leningrad rose through the ranks to become one of the most powerful men in the world. But for now, let us pause and ponder on the humble beginnings of this enigmatic figure, a humble beginning for a man destined to play a significant role in global politics. In 1975, Putin took a step that would shape his future. He joined the KGB. Vladimir Putin's journey with the KGB, the main security agency for the Soviet Union, spanned 16 pivotal years. This period was not just a phase in his career, it was a crucible, molding him into the man who would later lead Russia. As a young recruit, Putin was plunged into the world of foreign intelligence. His job involved gathering information from outside the Soviet Union, a role that necessitated a keen intellect, sharp instincts, and a knack for understanding people and politics. As he proved his mettle, Putin climbed the ranks within the KGB. His responsibilities grew, and so did his understanding of the complex geopolitical landscape. He became adept at navigating the murky waters of international relations, honing his skills in diplomacy, negotiation, and strategic planning. In the mid-80s, Putin found himself stationed in Dresden, East Germany. This period is particularly noteworthy in his KGB tenure. Here, he operated under the guise of a translator, while covertly coordinating the activities of the KGB's local network. This assignment further sharpened his understanding of the Western world and its intricacies. But Putin's time in the KGB was not just about gathering intelligence and understanding geopolitics. It was also about learning to make tough decisions in high-stakes situations. It was about learning to strategize, to anticipate, and to react. These skills, honed over many years, would later become cornerstones of his leadership style. Looking back, Putin's KGB years were more than a tenure with the Soviet Union's security agency. They were a training ground, a place where he cultivated the abilities that would eventually pave his way to the Kremlin. These were the years that honed Putin's strategic thinking and decision-making skills. With the fall of the Berlin Wall came a new chapter in Putin's life: politics. As the world saw the divide between East and West Germany crumble, Vladimir Putin was about to embark on a journey that would redefine not only his life, but the political landscape of Russia. Leaving his 16-year stint with the KGB behind, Putin ventured into territory uncharted by his previous career, the world of politics. His first foray into this realm began in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, where he served as the mayor from 1991 to 96. During his tenure, Putin was instrumental in fostering the city's economic growth and foreign investment, a feat that drew attention from the national political stage. Yet his tenure was not without controversy. Allegations of corruption loomed over his administration, with critics accusing him of favoring his allies. Nonetheless, his popularity remained largely intact, bolstered by his image as a strong, decisive leader. The pivotal moment, however, came in 1996 when he was called to Moscow. The then President Boris Yeltsin recognized Putin's potential and appointed him as his deputy chief of staff. This move marked the beginning of Putin's ascent in Russian politics. What followed were a series of promotions within the Kremlin, each one bringing him closer to the apex of Russian power. From the deputy chief of staff, Putin went on to become the first deputy prime minister and eventually the prime minister itself. Each role he undertook was characterized by his signature style of governance, a blend of assertiveness and strategic acumen. He was gaining not only political power but also the trust of the Russian people, who saw in him a leader capable of steering the nation towards prosperity. Putin was now a player in the political arena, and his influence was only set to grow. As we delve further into his life, we'll see how this influence would shape Russia's destiny and etch his name in the annals of its history. The year 1999 marked a turning point in Russian politics. Putin assumed the role of prime minister. This was the beginning of Putin's reign, a period that would shape the future of Russia and its global standing. From the moment he stepped into the office of prime minister, Putin's leadership style was one of decisive action and a strong hand. He was not one to shy away from making tough decisions, even if they were met with controversy. His policies, often described as authoritative, aimed at centralizing power and strengthening the Russian state. His tenure as prime minister was short but impactful. It paved the way for his presidency, which commenced in the year 2000. As president, Putin continued to implement policies that would consolidate his power and bolster Russia's position on the global stage. These included economic reforms that stabilized the Russian economy after the tumultuous 90s, and a focus on strengthening the military. Throughout his presidency, Putin has enjoyed significant popularity among the Russian people. Despite allegations of democratic backsliding and human rights violations, many Russians credit him with restoring national pride and bringing stability after the chaotic post-Soviet period. His strongman image, often portrayed in state media, resonates with a significant portion of the populace who see him as a defender of Russian interests in a hostile world. But Putin's approach to governance has not been without criticism. His centralization of power and suppression of opposition voices have raised concerns about the state of democracy in Russia. Internationally, his aggressive foreign policy and involvement in various conflicts have often put him at odds with the Western world. Yet Putin remains a dominant figure in Russian politics, continually navigating the intricate landscape of international relations and domestic affairs with a mix of pragmatism, strategic acumen, and an unwavering will to maintain Russia's sovereignty and influence. Putin had ascended to the highest echelons of power, but his journey was far from over. His reign, marked by both triumphs and controversies, continues to shape Russia's path into the future. With power comes controversy, and Putin's reign has been no exception. Indeed, the path of leadership has rarely been smooth, and Putin's tenure as Russia's president has been marked by numerous conflicts and controversies. One of the earliest conflicts emerged with Chechen separatists, a bitter struggle that reflected the complexities of post-Soviet Russia. The war was brutal, the lines between right and wrong often blurred, and it served as a grim reminder of the challenges Putin faced in maintaining control over a vast and diverse nation. Then came the military conflict with Georgia. This clash was not just a dispute over territory, it was a manifestation of the ongoing tension between Russia and its former Soviet states. The echoes of the Cold War could be heard in the exchange of fire, as the world watched on, anxiously waiting for the outcome. But perhaps the most divisive event of Putin's tenure was the annexation of Crimea. This bold and controversial move sent shockwaves across the globe. It was a clear statement of Putin's resolve to restore Russia's geopolitical influence, even at the risk of international isolation and sanctions. And let's not forget the war in eastern Ukraine, another conflict that has deepened the chasm between Russia and the West. This ongoing war, marked by disputed territories and political tensions, continues to shape Putin's presidency and Russia's international relations. So yes, Putin's reign has been filled with controversies and conflicts. From Chechen separatists to the annexation of Crimea, from the military conflict with Georgia to the war in eastern Ukraine, these events have defined Putin's time in power. They have highlighted his determination to assert Russia's influence and his willingness to challenge the status quo, often at a high cost. These events marked Putin's reign with a sense of unpredictability and defiance. They have painted a picture of a leader who is unafraid to take risks, who is willing to face opposition, and who remains, despite everything, a formidable figure on the world stage. As the longest-serving Russian president, Putin's legacy is a topic of intense debate. His leadership, spanning over 2 decades, has left an indelible mark on Russia and the world. Some hail him as a strong leader who restored Russia's place on the global stage, standing firm against Western influences and maintaining the country's sovereignty. However, the narrative isn't as straightforward as it seems. Putin's tenure has also been riddled with allegations of democratic backsliding, corruption, and human rights violations. Under his regime, critics argue that democratic institutions have been eroded, with power concentrated in the hands of a few. There are claims of widespread corruption, with the wealthy elite amassing fortunes while the majority struggle with economic hardships. The human rights landscape under Putin's leadership is equally contentious. Activists and journalists who dare to question the government often face intimidation or worse. Freedom of speech, a cornerstone of any democratic society, is said to be under threat, with censorship and control of media becoming the norm. In the international arena, Putin's actions have often led to tension and conflict. His decisions to annex Crimea and involve Russia in the war in eastern Ukraine have been met with widespread condemnation. Yet he remains undeterred, asserting Russia's might and influence in the face of opposition. Despite these controversies, Putin's impact on Russia cannot be denied. Under his leadership, Russia has regained its status as a global power, even as it faces sanctions and isolation. He has overseen vast infrastructure projects, modernized the military, and fostered a sense of national pride among many Russians. Looking at the larger picture, it's clear that Putin's legacy is complex and multifaceted. It's a story of power and politics, of national pride and international controversy. It's a tale of a man who, for better or worse, has shaped a nation and left an indelible mark on the world stage. Love him or loathe him, Putin's influence on the global stage is undeniable. Despite the controversies, Putin remains a powerful figure in global politics. As we navigate the currents of the 21st century, Vladimir Putin stands as a steadfast anchor, shaping Russia's course and influencing international events. Today, Putin's role is multifaceted and complex. As president, he continues to wield significant power, crafting Russia's domestic and foreign policies. He has held the reins of power for over 2 decades, becoming the longest-serving Russian president, a testament to his political acumen and resilience. In recent times, Putin has not shied away from making headlines. His actions continue to reverberate across the globe, whether it be strategic military interventions or diplomatic maneuverings. He remains an influential player on the world stage, often making unexpected moves that keep observers and analysts on their toes. Under Putin's leadership, Russia has seen both progress and challenges. The nation has reasserted its position as a global power, often challenging Western dominance in the international arena. Yet this resurgence has not been without its drawbacks. Democratic backsliding, corruption, and human rights violations are issues that continue to plague the nation. Russia's economy, too, has been a mixed bag under Putin. While the country has seen significant growth in certain sectors, economic inequality and dependence on natural resources continue to be areas of concern. Yet, Putin's popularity within Russia remains high, with many seeing him as a strong leader who has restored national pride. In the end, Putin is a man of contrasts, a leader who inspires both awe and criticism, a figure who is both admired and feared. His journey from a KGB officer to the president of Russia is a tale of ambition, resilience, and power. As we continue to watch Putin's story unfold, one thing is clear: he is a man who defies easy categorization. As we peer into the future, we look forward to seeing how Putin's leadership will continue to shape Russia and the world at large. From a young boy in Leningrad to the leader of one of the world's most powerful nations, Putin's journey has been extraordinary. We've walked through the labyrinth of his life, from his early years, the time in KGB, his emergence into politics, to his reign that has been punctuated with controversies and conflicts. His legacy, as we've seen, is a blend of strong leadership and questionable actions. Putin's influence extends well beyond the borders of Russia, reaching into global politics and shaping world events. Yet his character remains an enigma, a puzzle that we may never fully solve. His leadership, marked by democratic backsliding, corruption, and human rights violations, is a testament to the complexities of his rule and his personality. Despite the controversies, he remains a dominant figure, the longest-serving Russian president and the second longest-serving European president. His life and career, a testament to his determination and strategic prowess. Who is Vladimir Putin? Perhaps the answer is as complex as the man himself.